Julia, Rabbi Julia, will you please text Andrew or the whole staff and say 5:15 is start time?
Yep.
I can't get out to him. Cantor Doug, will you just play something so I know I'm live, folks. We are just getting the tech together. Thank you all. So glad you're here. And Carrie, you can bring people in now.
While I'm talking, I'm temporarily unmuted.
טוב ומדעים שברחים גם יחד הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שברחים גם יחד הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שברחים גם יחד הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שברחים גם שברחים גם יחד הנה טוב ומנעים שברחם גם יחד. Well, we're all together, Rabbi. I'm feeling a little hungry.
You kidding? They're still preparing everything at my house.
Oh, there's cooking going on? I don't want to talk about that right now, Rabbi. I still got some praying to do. Yeah.
And to all of you, I say, good Yontif and welcome. I'm glad you're all here. I'm Rabbi Paul Kipnis. Rabbi Julia, will you say good Yontif to everybody?
I will. Good Yontif.
And we're here. I'm Rabbi Paul Kipnis with Cantor Doug Kotler and Rabbi Julia Weiss. We welcome you all here to our High Holy Day Neilah service, taking us all the way through the end. I want to remind everybody in the most loving of ways that while we are back on Zoom purposefully, we ask that you stay muted at all times unless you're invited to unmute, which probably won't happen. We ask that you we invite you, if you want to change your settings to speaker view instead of the other view, the gallery view. The speaker view will let you see who's leading. And of course, we will use our high holiday machzor for services. If you don't have one, you can go to orami.org/HHD, orami.org/HHD, and download the Yom Kippur pages that we're using. I also want to invite you, if you want, while we're beginning the service, that at the end of the service, we'll be doing Havdalah, closing the service. So you might want to find 3 things. Go on a little scavenger hunt in your house. See if you can find an object that can hold liquid and fill it with any liquid except for water. Ideally grape juice or wine, but think about what you'll want to taste as your first taste after the fast. And find, secondly, something that smells good to them to use as the spices. Can be something from your spice cabinet, could be a flower that's nearby. And thirdly, something that gives or casts light. We use a multi-wick candle for Havdalah, but you can use anything, a flashlight, you can use tea lights or whatever. I must tell you that it is wonderful to see your faces, to feel the warmth of the community as we sit here together. We have missed you. Cantor Doug, you had a question for me?
I always have questions for you, Rabbi, but
then let me do my. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. I was going to ask a silly question, but I'm not quite.
Go ahead.
Ready to, I'm not quite ready to get silly yet.
Okay.
I still got some praying to do. So.
Awesome. You're coming in a little softly, maybe a little louder, but we are back here together. And by the way,
this, Rabbi? Is this better?
Little. I'm hearing little.
Is this better for me?
A little lower, I think.
A little softer.
Beautiful.
Okay. All right.
Okay. And welcome everybody who's worshiping us via Facebook Live, and also, of course, oramilive.com. With live control. Jacob Bronstein and his team have done an incredible job all over the country. When other places were going down because of technological issues, we were up. This Zoom experience, you now can see why we were so set on pre-producing it, because there's complications all the time, but we are here. It has been hard not being together. It's been hard not being at TOCAP. You know, we had all those references, those skits every time I showed up at the Thousand Oaks Civic Arts Plaza. That sort of illuminated what we were all facing. the challenges of not being together, and the brokenness of inside not being able to hug each other. But look at this, how wonderful it is that we are here together. And if you joined us particularly this morning for our Yom Kippur morning service, the consistent message again and again, Harry Friedman was reflecting on it with us, how Ledor Vador, from generation to generation, replaced that sense that we were lost in this moment of the coronavirus pandemic, that we were lost in the meanness and coarseness of this political season, that we had lost the ability to go out and just do what we wanted. But instead, we didn't dwell on that. We have been Ledor Vador, looking to the future. We have been shining the light. Or Ami found a way, because of Rabbi Julia and Cantor Doug, because of our incredible team at the synagogue, because of our incredible production team. We'll thank them all in a little bit. Because of them, we were able to shine the light forward and look to the future. And little Jacqueline, did it so beautifully as she sang with Cantor Doug, her cantor, Ledor Vador, looking to the future. So let us go into the future. Let's start by remembering that when we don't know what to do, when we're lost and alone, we have each other. And of course, we can listen. Page 113 in the Machzor.
Does that sound about right, Rabbi, volume-wise? If you're lost, you feel afraid, and you don't know what to say, then listen to our God. Is there a question on your mind? Is the answer hard to find? Then listen to our God. Listen with all your heart and soul, and with all your mind. Write them and learn them and teach them well, every morning and night. Close your eyes and listen. Quiet yourself, there's nothing to say. Stop all the chatter that gets in the way, and listen to our God. When the wind and the thunder finally disappear, there's still a voice that you will hear if you listen to our God. You can hear it from the top of the highest hill, from the valley below. It can come from the edge of the universe. It can come from within your soul. Close your eyes and listen. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai our God. You were announcing a page number, Rabbi, but you were muted, so we didn't hear that.
I am so tired of talking, and I'm hungry, so it was purposeful. With Rabbi Julia, we invite you to turn to page 149 as we read responsively. Rabbi Julia will read the italics, I'll read the regular. On this day of atonement, we pray, sustain us and strengthen us.
Keep us mindful of the meaning of the prayers we utter. Make us sensitive to the purposes of the fast we have begun.
Keep us hungry for Torah and give us the will to study it.
Keep us hungry for justice and give us courage to pursue it.
Keep us hungry for peace and give us the strength to work for it.
Keep us hungry for righteousness and give us the determination to live for it.
Keep us hungry for love and give us the understanding to earn it.
Keep us hungry for reconciliation and give us the wisdom to obtain it.
Keep us hungry for your forgiveness and give us the humility to ask for it.
On this Yom Kippur, O God, may our hunger provide us with food for our souls.
We are hungry for food today because we have chosen to fast, yet we hunger for other things throughout the year. We hunger for love and affection. We hunger for other people to need us. We hunger to know that we are important to others. We hunger for dignity and self-respect. We hunger for a sense of purpose. We hunger to see good things in the world, courage, faith, kindness, and love. Sustainer of Israel, help us to satisfy our hungers physically and spiritually, and enable us to nourish others by giving of ourselves. Be with us, O God of Israel, as we gather here in prayer on this Day of Atonement. Help us to be at one with you and with our neighbors. Help us above all to be at one with ourselves so that these precious days are not lost to pretense and self-deception.
Give us the strength to speak out honestly in prayer and to know ourselves as we are, human beings sinned against and sinning. Keep us from blaming others or blaming you. Help us instead to accept the responsibilities of our lives so that we may grow in spirituality and goodness according to your will.
We turn to page 150 and rise for the Amidah.
Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Leah Elohei Rachel Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'hanora El Elyon גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה. החיים ולחיים, מלך חפץ בחיים, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, בחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מכלכל חיים וחסד, בחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה, ברוך אתה אדוני המלך הקדוש.
You may take your seat. We turn to page 152 and pray responsively. 152. God's gift to us is the power and freedom to choose. Humans are not angels, nor are we robots. We are forever faced with choices of good and evil, blessings and curses. The struggle is ceaseless. The choice is ours.
We have been created with minds able to think good thoughts and hearts capable of good intentions. We often fail to fill this capacity to live up to the promise of God's pure gift.
We have been created with eyes, the blessing of sight to see the world's beauty and the holiness of all its creatures.
Often we squander God's gift and look without seeing. Often we contaminate it and let our eyes lead us astray.
We have been created with ears to hear sacred words, to hear sounds of wisdom, beauty, and love.
Often we squander God's gift and hear without listening. Often we debase it by listening to gossip, obscenities, and words of hatred. Hang on. Often we debase it by listening to gossip, obscenities, and words of hatred. We continue.
We have been created with mouths and tongues with the gift of speech that God gave to no other creature. With words we try to pray, with words we speak, with love to God and human beings.
But malice, pettiness, falsehood, and slander have sullied our speech. With words we have mocked God's gift, shaming neighbor and stranger, cursing, laughing at the pain of others, uttering false oaths, insincere pledges, and vain promises.
We have been created with hands, the ability to sense creation through touch, the capacity to transmit tenderness.
Sometimes we have veered toward violence, using our hands to injure or destroy.
We've been given legs to walk in God's path, to pursue God's commandments.
Instead of walking always in the ways of godliness, often we have rushed to do unworthy deeds. We have walked away from Torah and from people.
We've been blessed with life and with the ability to share and transmit joy.
Infidelity and disloyalty have sometimes corrupted this pure gift.
All that we are, body and soul, are bare before God and before our own examination. We are burdened by the bad choices we have made. We have marred the pure beauty of our souls through our misdeeds.
May we find the courage to renew our lives, to change at least part of what should be changed. May Yom Kippur lead us to reconciliation with ourselves, with those whom we have hurt and offended, and by doing so lead us to reconciliation with God.
Please join us in reading top of page 154. Let us ask ourselves hard questions, for this is the time for truth.
How much time did we waste in the year that is now gone?
Did we fill our days with blessing, or were they dull and empty?
Was there love inside our home, or was the affectionate word left unsaid?
Was there real companionship, or were we living together and growing apart?
Were we a help to our loved ones, or did we take them for granted?
The kind deed, did we perform it or postpone it? The unnecessary jibe, do we say it or hold it back?
Did we live by false values? Did we deceive others? Did we deceive ourselves?
Did we acquire only possessions, or did we acquire new insights as well?
Did we fear what the crowd would say and kept quiet when we should have spoken out?
Do we mind only our own business, or do we feel the heartbreak of others?
Did we live right? And if not, what have we learned and will we change?
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for all these sins, we ask God and each other to give us the strength to forgive ourselves and one another, for pretending to have emotions we do not feel,
For using the sins of others to excuse our own,
for giving up our dreams,
for closing our eyes to reality,
for false pride,
for no pride,
for self-contempt,
for overinflated egos,
for withholding the helping hand,
for making martyrs of ourselves,
for demanding instant gratification,
for expecting constant gratification,
for expecting too much,
for settling for too little,
for cooperating with self-destructive behavior in ourselves and in others,
for not supporting each other as we attempt to change,
for trying to possess and control those we love,
for withholding love and support,
for doubting our ability to love or to receive love from others,
for fearing commitment with another, for all these sins, O God of compassion, forgive us, pardon us, restore us as we sing.
Ve'al kulam Eloha selichot selach lanu mechalanu kaper lanu.
Page 156, we pray responsively. We examine not only our personal lives, but also our responsibilities as part of our community, our people, and our nation. We seek forgiveness
for the sins of ignoring the dangers facing our Jewish brothers and sisters in foreign lands,
and for the sins we have committed by not publicly supporting the Jewish people and Israel when they are being treated or criticized unfairly.
for the sins of being critical of Jewish life from a distance rather than from personal involvement and commitment,
and for the sins of not spending more time engaged in learning Jewish tradition and studying Jewish history, literature, and holy texts.
For the sins of not giving enough time to building the kind of Jewish community we desire, but instead expecting things to happen without contributing to make them happen.
As we prepare to read in the middle of page 156, I am realizing that though we just reprinted our High Holiday Machzorim, our High Holiday prayer books this year, this prayer book was actually one that we edited about 18 years ago, that was based on a prayer book that was written before. So the words are not new that we're going to read, but the words we're reading are right about today, about how we live our lives, about how we live in community, about how we treat others, those we know and those we don't know, those we like and those we don't like. Let's read these today. Or if you're listening along, listen to them today. They're not new words, but they speak to the moment in history we are in now. We sin against you, O God, when we sin against ourselves. For our failures of justice, O God, we ask forgiveness for us and all humanity. For worshiping money, for ignoring the problems in our society, for not acknowledging the human rights of others, for not addressing injustice, for turning away from the plight of the hungry and the homeless, for turning away from victims of oppression, for tolerating racism, for tolerating discrimination against any group, for dismissing the disenfranchised and the poor. Ve'al kulam Eloah slichot, slach lanu, machal lanu, kaper lanu. For all these sins, O God of compassion, forgive us, pardon us, restore us. As we sing.
Ve'al kulam Eloah selichot, selach lanu mechal lanu, kaper lanu.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for the sins we have sinned against you, together on 157, for the sin we have committed by dividing our cities into slums and gated communities, for the sin of threatening the survival of the species on this planet, for the sin of filling the common air with poisons, for the sin of making our waters unfit to drink and unsafe for marine life, for the sin of pouring noxious chemicals upon trees and soil, for the sin we have committed by appeasing aggressors,
Rishi, you want us to be on
for
mute.
the sin we have committed before you by not working for peace. Ve'al kulam Eloah slichot, slach lanu, machal lanu, kaper lanu. For all these sins, O God of compassion, forgive us, pardon us, restore us.
Ve'al kulam Eloah selichot, selach lanu bechal lanu, kaper lanu. לנו, מחלנו, סלח לנו, מחלנו, קבל לנו.
Page 157 at the bottom of the page. We thank you, O Mentor of Israel, for our family and for what we mean and bring to one another. We are grateful for the bonds of loyalty and affection which sustain us and which keep us close to one another no matter how far apart we may be. We thank you for implanting within us the deep need for each other, for giving us the capacity to love and to care, and for enabling us to share our simchas and our tsuras together. With Rabbi Julia.
Help us to be modest in our demands of one another, but generous in our giving to each other. May we never measure how much love or encouragement we offer. May we never count the times we forgive. Rather, may we always be grateful that we have one another and that we are able to express our love in acts of kindness.
Justice, justice, I will pursue you. I will never cease to do what's right. The more there's justice, the more there will be peace.
With these words which the cantor sang, are from the book of Deuteronomy. They're the same words that call us to do justice, not just for ourselves, but for all. We pray for a moment for our country and for its leaders and for the precariousness that we face and the responsibility we each have. This is not in your prayer book. We pray, loving and holy God, it is a precarious time in our lives, at home, in our local communities, throughout our states and our nation, across the world. We are facing challenges unlike anything we've ever experienced before. We therefore turn to you as our source of hope and healing and comfort. We pray for our loved ones and for our neighbors, those we know and those we don't know, those we like and those we don't like. May they all be healthy and safe, for when they are, we are too. In these uncertain economic times, we pray for our livelihoods and the strength to weather the storm. As we look to them for guidance and support, we pray for our health care workers, essential workers, school personnel, and our elected officials. May we all share in the holiest of work, maintaining the old belief that we are of one human family. And may we nobly serve this ideal with selfless devotion through acts of material, spiritual, and emotional giving. Please return the spirit of respect and dignity and reconciliation to our homes, to our places of business, to the corridors of political leadership. Remind everyone that this is one country and we must transcend the coarseness and unkindness, the hatred, to find a way to work together for the betterment of this country. Teach us to ignore calls to divide us and instead jump and run forth to those calls to unite us. Remind us that we are responsible for each other. It says in Pirkei Avot in the Talmud, Kol Yisrael arevim zeh bazeh, every Jew is responsible for each other. But we know the intent is that every person, every Ben Adam and Bat Adam, every human being is responsible for one another. Lead us to be uniters. Lead us towards kindness. Lead us to remember that we are all created B'Tselem Elohim in your image, O God. no matter the color of the skin or the background we've grown up in, how much we have in terms of wealth, how much we have in terms of wisdom, no matter where we're from, no matter our age. Guide our leaders to rise up to be sources of kindness and goodness, of light and healing, to bring us together for the sake of this great beloved nation of ours, the United States of America. And in this spirit, we pray also for the state of Israel and its people. May our homeland be an oasis of peace, safe and secure, open and welcoming, a wellspring of shalom for all that call that part of world their home. May it learn to live in peace with its neighbors. May its neighbors learn to live in peace with it. May the promise of that promised land be there for us all. In Deuteronomy, we read, Tzedek, tzedek tirdof, justice, justice you shall pursue. A framed copy of this Torahitic imperative hung in the chambers of the late Jewish Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Our rabbis teach that the doubling of the word tzedek is for emphasis, teaching that in the pursuit of justice, we must provide justice not just for ourselves, that's the second tzedek, but for everyone else, that's the first tzedek. May Cantor Kotler's stirring song that we'll hear in a moment remind us all on this Yom Kippur that to attain full tzedek, justice for anyone, we must begin by ensuring justice for others. For that must precede justice for ourselves. And so we sing.
Justice, justice, I will pursue you, I will never cease. The more there's justice, the more there's justice, the more there will be peace. We know what it's like to be without a home. We know what it's like to wander years alone. And I must break the chains that bind the slave and make oppression disappear. And I must help the stranger find a bed, and I will share my bread. Yeah, justice, justice, I will pursue you, I will never cease. Do what's right, the more there's justice, the more there will be peace. In the beggar's eye,
for there will be peace. Shalom. We sing along with Rachel Sands as she prays Sim Shalom, a prayer found on page 158, where we ask God for a good amount, a huge amount of peace for us, for Israel, and for the world. Rachel, we invite you to sing.
A beautiful song for peace. Thank you, Rachel, for leading us on that journey towards peace. I want to take you all on another journey, a journey of these Yamim Noraim, these last 10 days. We came into this high holy day period broken and fragile and sad and missing each other. And we gathered together in our homes, sometimes in small groups, sometimes alone. But thanks to a wonderful team of people, we were able to enjoy beautiful services together. And we heard stories and meditations and sermons that carried us on a journey. We started on Erev Rosh Hashanah, thinking about the curse of blessings that taught us in that story that if we habituate ourselves to blessing others, we will rise above the culture of snark and derision. And we will see the blessing, those silver linings that are out there. And then Rabbi Julia taught us a pair of stirring stories of an adult daycare facility for people with Alzheimer's and dementia. and taught us that if we work on our goodness now, that's what will shine through, even as we age, even as disease takes us, even as we start to lose ourselves. And that was important because on Rosh Hashanah morning, we sat in meditation, reminding us in the midst of everything that's pulling us in every single different direction. We said it again and again. Repeat after me. I am enough. Enough. We said, reminded ourselves that I am enough. But lest we think that it's only about us, we learned lessons from the cave, as we heard from Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, who decried the selfishness of his generation and had to come to grips with his own responsibility for the state of his nation and the world. And he urged us to look at our own selfishness, how we are hiding out from truths that we don't want to come to grips with. And we need to come to realize our own responsibility for the state of our nation and this world. And for those who joined us in the family service, as our rabbis and cantor and others got in costume, we went to the land of no second chances, an imaginary place where people cannot right the wrongs they have done. And we learned with those characters that there is no such place, a land of no second chances. At least in Judaism, we can always try again, and forgiveness is possible. On Yom Kippur Eve, we explored Unatana Tokef, that in the face of the harsh reality of life, the stuff that happens in life, we can avert the inevitable difficulties, the bitterness and anger, with three things: teshuvah, repairing our relationships; tzedakah, giving to others to lift others up; and tefillah, finding our spiritual core, the essence, the truths that we can then bring out into the world. And we listened to Rabbi Julia tell a story about the cloth seller who wanted to borrow, to gain such cloth and to pay later. As we call out to Avinu Malkeinu, our parent, our guide, to grant us goodness. And we will work in the year ahead to repair and improve ourselves and our world. On Yom Kippur morning, we sat as I interviewed Cantor Doug Kotler about his legacy and about the lessons his life has taught him, about clinging to Judaism, which can help protect us from the harsh realities of life, about the triple blessing that he experiences of working, of getting paid for that work, and having that work help repair the world. And of course, he in that moment shared with us that he has decided he will stay on for another year. And you should know that our board enthusiastically accepted and approved it. And so he will stay with us as our cantor for another really 18 months from now, so that we can weather this storm. And he taught us that he's doing that because we need to continue to pass on the values of our tradition, L'dor Vador. And just a few hours ago, we sat in the family services learning about little Billy and the Yetzer Hatov and the Yetzer Hara, the inclination to do good and the inclination to do evil or disharmony. And that at every moment, each of us can decide to go the path of evil or disharmony or hatred or coarseness or division, or we can choose to go the path of goodness and harmony, bringing people together toward holiness. And at every moment, we must choose it. And then at Yizkor, we sat together, trying to figure out how to live our lives now in ways that will directly affect how we will be remembered. As we remember our loved ones and shed tears of sadness of missing them, perhaps it pushed us onward to secure our own legacies by ensuring our values are understood and passed on. And now we're here at Neilah, and their gates are getting ready to close. We've reviewed our year in our own lives. Let's let the high holidays, before they conclude, push us to live better, to do better, to change the world for the better. That's on each of us, not on others, but on each of us. And so, in a moment, we will move toward the sounding of the shofar and Havdalah, and Ashkivenu and the breaking of the fast. Before we do a few announcements, Rabbi Julia, will you tell us a little bit about Sukkot and Simchat Torah?
I would love to. We're going to begin our Sukkot celebration together on Friday night, October 2nd. Make your own sukkah. We will have Shabbat services either in a homemade sukkah inside or outside, or join us virtually as we sit in our sukkah. That will be Friday evening, October 2nd. And October 4th, this Sunday, 12 to 2 o'clock, we will have a drive-through live where we invite you as our community to drive through our very own sukkah at Congregation Orami. There will be all kinds of experiences there having to do with celebrating the Sukkot holiday from your car. Come say hi to your clergy and other staff as we celebrate Sukkot and then physically drive through a decorated sukkah. Please bring gently used or new blankets, tents, sleeping bags, jackets, as we gift our unhoused friends warm things as we go into the winter months, that are those that are living on the streets. And then Friday, October 9th, we have our Living Torah car rally. We will be celebrating Simchat Torah from 5 to 7 o'clock. You must register in order to receive the addresses for the car rally. And there will be several homes from Agora Hills all the way to about Calabasas Woodland Hills, where you will get to see Torah live in action on our own congregants' front yards. They are going to decorate Torah portions and they will make them come to life. There will be actors, there will be goodies at every stop, and then join us at the end where we finish the Torah and we begin the Torah, driving through some scenes at Congregation Orami with Rabbi Paul, myself, and we will celebrate Simchat Torah at the end with waving some flags, dancing in our cars, October 9th from 5 to 7 o'clock. Please register for both at orami.org/RSVP. We can't wait to continue the holiday celebration with you all, our community.
And a few more things. The village, Orami Village, has an active calendar of events for congregants 55 and better. Right now, they're meeting every 2 weeks on Zoom until we all can meet in person. Programs have included game nights and cocktail hours, art tours, discussions, and watch parties. Next up is a virtual tour of Israel in real time and with a tour guide. The village wants to meet your needs and welcomes members who would like to share your expertise and learn from others. Their banner line is "Join Us," and they mean it. So go to orami.org/village and click on register here. You're going to love the new friendships that people are growing. 55 on up. I also want to remind you that it is a Jewish sacred value to register and to vote. Make sure you do so, no matter what you have to do, because we have learned wherever we have lived that our safety and the success of our countries is based on our involvement in the political life of the country. So do that. It's a mitzvah. We are getting ready to move into Neilah. One last time, I'm going to ask Cantor Doug to sing Avinu Malkeinu. It's on page 194 as we prepare for the closing of the ark.
Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu Anenu, Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu Anenu, Ki en banu Tzedakah v'chesed חננו עננו אבינו מלכנו חננו ועננו כי אין בנו
We join together now, reading responsively with Rabbi Julia at the top of page 195.
Day softly tiptoes out through the western horizon.
Soon night will encompass our hearts.
Can we hear the chorus of the hosts on high?
Not words, but God's soft-spoken plea is heard. Keep open your gates, keep open your gate. Close not your last remaining hope.
O guardian of Israel, who performed wonders for our ancestors and led them out of ignorance and darkness into knowledge and light, perform a wonder in us too. Lead us step by step into goodness, holiness, peace, and togetherness in the year to come. Whether by birth or by choice, we are the heirs of a covenant, a partnership entered into at Mount Sinai 32 centuries ago. There we learned.
There is a God who can and will help us. There is a guidebook that can and will lead us. There is a holy community that can and will spiritually elevate us.
If we want to live more, we must love more. If we want to have more direction and purpose in our lives, we must study more Torah.
If we want to live healthier and holier lives, we must do more mitzvot.
If we want to live in a more compassionate world, we must give more tzedakah and multiply our deeds of kindness. Today is the day to begin anew. With God's help, we open the doors to go forth into a new year of life.
At the bottom of page 195, for 25 hours we have prayed out our hearts and minds on this Yom Kippur. As evening comes and the long fast draws to a close, tens of thousands of words have been spoken and sung. And yet, there are further unspoken feelings buried within us. And so we muster our remaining physical and spiritual resources and make one last desperate effort to descend into the human depths and to climb to the divine heights. We cry out, Shema Yisrael. We repeat, Baruch Shem Kevod 3 times. We stammer 7 times, each time at a higher and more urgent pitch. Adonai hu ha-Elohim. Adonai is God. No longer is it the meaning of our words, but rather their rhythm, their insistent repetition in which we place our hope. For we reach for the shofar, and through its one long piercing cry, to Ki Agadola, our heart's desires, reach the heavens.
אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. שמע Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
Adonai hu ha-Elohim.
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 Adonai hu ha-Elohim. Adonai hu ha-Elohim.
And we call our Baal Tekiah, Brad Cohen, to unmute as I call. Tekiah Gedolah. And we make Havdalah, ending the holiness of this day. Bring together your candles and your spice box and your wine or whatever you have that smells, that lights up, that is filled with the liquid. As Carrie, if you'll spotlight, Rabbi Julia will sing the blessings, and she has the items, and you hold them up.
La 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei beri hagafen borei beri hagafen la 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei minei v'samim borei minei v'samim Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei meorei haesh borei meorei haesh Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam המבדיל בין קודש לחול המבדיל בין קודש לחול אליהו הנביא אליהו התשבי אליהו הגלעדי במהרה ימינו Tishbi, Eliyahu, 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 Agiladi. Shana Tova, Shana Tova, Shana Tova, Shana Tova. A good year, a year of peace. Go out and vote. May joy increase.
So my friends, Orami is we are the people of Kfel, not Kvetch. If you were at the visit with the rabbi, with the clergy just after morning service too, Rich Abrams shared a beautiful poem about Kfel, don't Kvetch, which we'll share later. But when you kvetch, it makes you want to retch. I don't think he said it that way, but makes everybody else. So let's be the people of kvelling, not kvetching. I want you to know that while these services were going on, there were a number of groups that were involved in making these so wonderful. We've already kvelled and thanked, and you can't thank them enough. Our production team, including Harry Friedman and Karen Pofsky and Jared Paul and Aaron Meyer and Michael Kaplan and Leslie Kraut and Peter Kraut, Deanna Glassberg and Jason Siegel, our filmmaker. These people only 3 months ago got together and we said, you know, they made it clear to us that Zoom ain't going to cut it, that we need to go a different way. And they showed us the way, shined the light we didn't know. So thank them and all the people on that list. And those of you who came for the drive-through blessings and essential bag, thank you to Susie Gruber and her team. And all who read Torah and sang in our chorale and our instrumentalists, what you did over the years brought us to this place and lifted us up. The hidden group of people that we don't thank enough, and we need to, are our office staff and our programmatic staff. There are so many of them, but I particularly want to thank Susie Stark and Lizette Toohey and Jenny Mazzella and Andrew Fromer. They have been working nonstop to prepare us for this moment and dealing with the tech issues that you don't know about, like when the entire Shul cloud went out all over the country, and they found ways to keep things going. Thank you to them. For any of these people and others who were involved, Diane Townsend and our teachers and faculty, if you want to thank them, do it directly or send me an email or a text and I will pass it on. Tomorrow, Cantor Doug and Rabbi Julie and myself will take a day and turn off. We thank our spouses, Gail Petler, David Weiss, Michelle November, and our kids for allowing us to disappear, usually for a month prior to the holidays. For them, it probably feels like, and is, we've disappeared for about 3 to 5 months as we planned for this eventuality. Thank you to them, to you. You make it possible for us to serve this gorgeous, beautiful, caring community. And finally, thank you to each of you for you have, and thank you to Rabbi Julia and Cantor Doug, my partners in prayer, my friends,
Thank you, Rabbi Paul.
And thank you for walking this journey together. Let me invite everybody to hold if you're with others, hold your loved ones close. And if there's no one with you, but you hold the image of your loved ones close and know that I'm holding you in my heart. And let's sing a final song. And of course, if you're separating because of COVID, don't get too close because I can't visit you if you get sick, but I love you. And so let's sing together, Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'shalom, L'shalom. Ha'amidenu Shomrenu L'chaim. Rabbi, you got to wait till we say a blessing. We're just singing Hashkivenu. That
Okay,
was
go back to it. Go back.
That was unfair, Rabbi. What
I'm
what are you
sorry.
having? That's okay. What are you having? I need to. What do you got? Bagels?
It's look at this. I
Oy,
got
g-
a
oy, yes.
bagel and
Oy,
lox, and I've got what are the little green things called?
Capers
Capers, and I've
Yeah.
got white fish from the deli,
and
I got
pickles.
kosher pickles.
Okay, now we're gonna sing Hashkivenu with some real Geschmacht, Rabbi. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. V'ha'avidenu shomrenu l'chaim. Fros aleinu sukat shlomecha, fros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us daily wrong from right. Amen. Just 1 second. Carrie, would you spotlight the Weiss family thing? Yeah, that's no, not that one. The one that says Weiss family. Amen. 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 Yes. Amen. Amen.
Ashana Haba'ah Thousand Oaks.
Yes.
Next year in Thousand Oaks. And it would be good to get to Jerusalem too.
Yeah, but okay. Good job. Shana Tova.
Shana Tova. We were going to greet everybody. I'm
Yeah,
exhausted.
well, let's-
You guys should all go eat.
Wait,
We
you
can
go.
greet,
You
but
go eat. I'll greet everybody.
Yeah, I'm
We'll
snacking.
greet.
Happen for you too.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Let's say a motzi. Say a motzi.
Oh yeah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Rabbi, go eat. Rabbi, go eat. Tell Noam, Rabbi Julia, tell Noam that next year he can lead the Hashkivena. He was practicing. I saw him. Carrie, you can unmute everybody, and anybody that wants to talk. If you're not hungry, you can talk.